Noisy Pixel.
Mystery fiction seems to have a few standard elements and themes. While this usually includes some detective-like characters solving a puzzle born of malevolence, developer Paleontology Soft's psychological mystery title, SeaBed, happens to contain nothing of the sort. As a concept, this is one of the things that hugely interested me initially in the title, and whilst it was initially released on Steam, thanks to Fruitback Factory, the game has now been ported to the Nintendo Switch, which offered me the perfect opportunity to see what lies beneath the ocean's surface. SeaBed is a visual novel that has a trinity of protagonists and viewpoints. Protagonist number 1 is a young woman named Mizuno Sachiko, who runs a small design company with her girlfriend. However, something is off, as Sachiko is learning she might be experiencing some hallucinations of her past lover, and her memories don't seem to be matching up with reality. To assist her is a psychiatrist, Narasaki Hibiki, a childhood friend of both Sachiko and our third protagonist, Takako. Takako is Sachiko's past lover, who has a mysterious dementia-like illness that is eating away at her memories. To try and flesh out the synopsis of this psychological mystery title any further would be doing it a disservice, as this extremely unorthodox game tells an astonishingly compelling character-driven narrative that thrives on your deciphering of the story as it occurs. Aesthetically, SeaBed is similar to titles such as Higurashi When They Cry, using filtered photos as backgrounds. It has an absolutely obscene amount of them too, which is excellent as it allows the story to cycle through a whole collection of backgrounds for each location and use more specific context-based backdrops. Still, this doesn't stop it from having some charming portraits and CGs. SeaBed also shares Higurashi's lack of text boxes, instead opting for the screen itself to just be one big text box. This works because the background gets darkened, so the text is visible. Don't worry about it looking messy. SeaBed really shines through with its sound design that goes beyond just an array of blissful background pieces that brought me half to tears. Nearly every action is punctuated with the constant sound, whether it be a creaky door, footsteps, the clinking of glasses, a cool breeze, practically everything. The sheer volume helps the narrative achieve a level of immersion with its completely linear story that other visual novels that have self-insert characters and player choices wish they could get. I should point out also that SeaBed is rather visually minimalistic, but that only assists the title with its mesmerizing writing. Each of the 3 protagonists tells their side of the story in their own particular way, with the writing style changing to suit each character. There's a good amount of overlap with the game's fantastic supporting cast, as their differing relationships will lead to very different interactions between the leads. This constant shift of character and style, as well as background and audio changes, prevents the title from being hindered by a slower paced narrative. The story itself ended up being more about the characters confronting their own feelings and often taking introspective moments to try and work out what they're really doing with their life. This leads to a tale with practically zero tension, but continuously keeps you guessing and formulating just how all these plot elements tie together masterfully. Then, to be extra fun between chapters, you unlock tips. Instead of these tips making things more defined and understandable, these tips are additional scenarios that early on do the functional opposite, adding mysterious scenes that had me reciting the words, "What the hell does this mean?" over and over as I scrambled to put the pieces together, and I enjoyed every second of it. SeaBed really isn't much of a game, but as a piece of interactive media, it is quite possibly one of the most enjoyable things I've had the pleasure of experiencing. The story tells an evocative narrative about self-reflection and actualization that seemed to enjoy breaking me down emotionally just as much as I took pleasure in breaking down its themes and characters. All I need now is something to help me with this overwhelming feeling of emptiness now that it's over. Noisy Pixel is giving SeaBed a 9.5 out of 10. Thank you guys so much for watching. Noisy Pixel is brought to you by a collection of gamers who work hard to bring you the best news, reviews, previews, and more. Please subscribe and ring the little bell to stay up to date on all of our future content.